Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 16th episode of the Stack2E podcast. The previous episode was a different one where we had a compilation of developers talking about the books that they like, and I've been getting some good feedback from many folks, so thanks a lot for that. I'm planning to do many such episodes in the future, so if you are interested, please do reach out with books that you like, and then I would like to keep doing such compilations and even have a discussion around the top favorite books of developers. And of course, if you have any topic that you're interested in, please do reach out to me. I would like to keep doing many episodes of this podcast. So please do reach out. Today, we have with us Magesh, who is a senior consultant at Sidin Technologies. And we are going to be talking primarily about a lot of training and mentoring initiatives that Magesh has been running, especially for junior developers. Hey, welcome, Magesh. Thanks for taking your time.
Hi guys. Hi Manoj.
Hey. So can you start off by introducing yourself and also the work that you're doing? And I know that you are very active in the local Chennai developer community. So touch upon a bit on that as well.
Sure. Yes. So hey guys, I am Magesh and I currently work as a consultant for Sedin Technologies. And the work that I do here is mostly training developers, helping them get to a better level by learning new technologies, adopting to new technologies like React and JavaScript stack and so on. That is my current job. And apart from work, I also I help organize events for local developer communities. So I'm the lead of Facebook Developer Circle. There's one community, and then one more is Chennai Geeks. So what I do mostly is, we organize a lot of events for these communities. When I say event, these are like meetups, hackathons, build days, and so on. Right. So far, it's been like 3+ years. I think it's been more than 3 years since we started Facebook Developer Circle, and I've been volunteering for Chennai Geeks for almost 4 years or 5 years, I think. And I think we have done more than 50 events, 50+ events so far. That's about the community work that I've been doing so far, and not just these meetups. That we have also taken the time to go to the colleges and meet students and organize specialized events for students as well. Because most of the time when we organize meetups, that happens in the city, probably in a partner company. These are all non-profit events. So we partner with another company in Chennai, and they give us a space to host such events, right? So most of the attendees who come to our event are probably experienced developers, and we saw that very few students were attending these sessions. So we wanted to reach out to colleges also, so that we can. If students are not able to come to our event, we thought we could be there to organize it for them. So that's another thing that we've been doing so far in the community.
Great. Thanks for the details, Magesh. I think the Chennai Geeks and the Facebook Developer Circle are amongst the very active communities in Chennai. Yeah, good
Yeah.
to know that. Good to talk with someone who's leading that effort in many ways, and I would like to start being part of the community as well. Thanks a lot for that introduction. So we primarily started chatting around the work that you're doing with mentoring, boot camps, and training junior developers. So what led you to start focusing on such activities? As I think you're now doing it as part of a bit of part of your work as well, right? So what were you doing before, and what prompted you to do this shift?
Right. So what led me to start these mentoring and training things, right? So there are two actually. One is my passion for learning and teaching developers, and second is the talent acquisition problem, right? So I'll start with the first one. So just 2 years ago, I was actually running a consulting company for almost 6 years. I was running this consulting company, and at a point I was in the situation where I was contemplating, reflecting, self-reflecting, and thinking, am I on the right path? And is there anything better that I could do? Should I continue running this consulting business, or should I try something better, or maybe a product company or whatever? So I was just self-reflecting and trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. Right. So after thinking for a long time, I took probably a few months to do that, sleeping over it and thinking again and again. Then I thought that maybe consulting is not. I wanted a change. I didn't want to continue consulting. So then there came this question like, what else? If not consulting, what else should I do? So then I was wondering, how do I decide what to do next? And I was just looking at all my past roles. Currently I was an entrepreneur, and then previously I was a software engineer. I worked for multiple companies. So I was looking at all these past roles to see if what are the best part of my job, right? So when thinking like that, I realized that I enjoyed learning and teaching technology mostly. Whether I was an entrepreneur or a software engineer, I used to always help out junior developers to help learn, like teach or help them learn the latest technologies. And we used to have a discussion in our office. Like we would sit together and then discuss about the upcoming technologies. Or if we find something new, like let's say React is a new technology that has come up, we used to like sit in the office on a Saturday and used to talk about it. And we should try like building an application or things like that, right? So these kind of things I was doing for the last few years in different roles. So I was wondering, like, okay, maybe if that is the part that I enjoy mostly, like, why can't this be a full-time job? Like, I was wondering like that. Can we take this part that I enjoyed most and create a full-time job out of it? So that's how I started thinking in these lines. And around the same time, since I was also organizing multiple events for these two communities, Chennai Geeks and Facebook Developer Circle, I used to meet a lot of people, right? So fellow startup entrepreneurs used to come to me and say, Agesh, you meet a lot of developers these days. Can you suggest or can you recommend me someone? I'm looking to hire a Python developer, or I'm looking to hire a JavaScript developer. So I used to get these kind of requests from multiple people, and I couldn't actually recommend anyone for them. Like maybe I could recommend only one or two, but I used to get so many requests every month. And I was thinking, like, why am I not able to recommend people? Are there not good people in our city, Chennai? So I was wondering like that, and that also became like really like. Then I started asking people like, hey, how do you hire people in your company? What are the challenges that you had? Then I came to know that this was a real problem in Chennai, not just in Chennai, all over India. All the companies are facing this problem. I spoke to founder of ChargeBee, Krish, and I was asking him, how do you hire senior developers and all? So everybody seems to have the same problem. They're not able to hire really good people. They are able to hire, but how do I find the really talented folks? So that was a big problem that exists in the market right now. So I was wondering if there's any way that we could contribute to solving this problem, right? If you could solve that problem, that could create a huge impact. So this impact is what led to me, being in this current situation right now to start a bootcamp company or to train people and all, because that could create an impact, for our country. Other than, I was thinking like, if I continue doing my consulting business, there is like little impact that I could create when compared to, training people. If I could make these people who are unemployable to be, employable, that could be a really good thing for our country, right? So I was starting to think in those aspects, and that's how it became.
Yeah, I think you put it very beautifully. That was a pretty good explanation of your motivations. I could get the passion behind it, and yeah, making that impact. Right, I think not many activities can give that feel for us, and I think always teaching for things that you are very passionate about could be something that we could have a good impact on. And
it
I think
is actually a very satisfying thing, right?
Yeah.
Like teaching people is like very rewarding. When compared to doing other things.
Yeah.
Like when you teach somebody and they are able to do something out of it, that is actually a very rewarding.
Yeah, nice. And I think in especially with software, which is like changing pretty fast, right? I think it is also a learning experience as well. Like I think one of the people say like to solidify your learning, you have to teach, right? So I think for things that are fast coming, okay, there is a good motivation for us to pick something new and teach it, and then you also become together with the people that you're teaching. You're also becoming an expert on that, right? So I think there's both sides to it. There is the impact that you were talking about. Yeah, I think that fits in very nicely. So with the motivation understood, can you talk a bit about how did you start structuring the training and bootcamp activities? Because that's something that is very tough to get a right balance on, like how much do you go into details. That's always been a problem everywhere, I suppose, and especially with software, right? It's never ending. So how do you structure it? How do you make sure that there is right amount of content, there is right amount of time commitment, and so on? So can you give a bit of detail on that?
Yes, sure. So I don't have a fixed structure as it for now. It's been just a year since I started doing this, and I've experimented this with a lot of people in my current company, as well as I've gone out and given training. So I've been experimenting what works and what doesn't work, right? So there is no fixed structure because this time constraint is also there, right? Like after doing all these training for the last 1 year, what I realized is if you want to like really make someone, really employable, someone who's not like employable to become employable, it needs a considerable amount of time and commitment from them, right? So what would work is at a minimum of 3 months time to commit to this and try a lot of things in programming, right? But usually for us, when I'm talking to other companies, probably our clients, when I ask them like, hey, how can I help you train your developers? And if I tell them that, 3 months time is what I want, then they would say, no, that's not possible, because they are working on a project, they are serving clients, and so they would suggest me that, Magesh, can you do something for a shorter period? Like, can you do it for a week time, or probably 1 week bootcamp or 2 week bootcamp? So it depends from company to company. So then I started thinking, okay, so can we do something in this limited period of time? So I experimented a week-long bootcamp, and I've done 2 weeks bootcamp also. So I tried that. But in those aspects, what happens is I need to talk to the client and understand their requirement first. Like, what are you trying to get out of this 1 week or 2 weeks, right? We cannot do much actually. We cannot take a fresher out of college and then train them to be a good developer in 2 weeks. That's not possible. But this would work for people who are already experienced, right? Who are working for this company, who are already experienced. Maybe they want to upskill themselves. Probably they want to learn another new technology. Let's say React or Node.js, something like that. So in that case, I would ask them what are you planning to do? Like, after training them in these technologies, what is their kind of job that they would be doing? So I get an idea of the application that they would be working on, the product that the company is building, things like that. And then I put out a structure, like saying, okay, these are the contents that I should cover. Like, these are the libraries that I should include in this particular course. And then I send out the content to the company, team, HR or someone. So they look at it and then they tell me, okay, good, this looks good. Or they would add to it saying, no, we need to add a few more libraries to this. Can you also accommodate this? So based on this, I will think about it and come up with the structure. Like, in 2 weeks, is this possible? And my course is mostly not theoretical, actually. It's all, demo based. So from day one, what I do is I start writing applications, building application or writing code. That's how my work is. So I put out all these contents, and then it's not like a PPT that I'm going to show and teach people. Instead, I have to come up with an idea for an application that I'll be building from scratch from day one. And while building this application, people will also learn the various concepts that they are supposed to learn, right? All the fundamentals of a language or the fundamentals of a library, things like that. So it's like a practical approach rather than a theoretical approach like you do in college, right? So I start this approach is more fun because people kind of get this kick out of building something at the end of the day, right? So I'm able to create a single page and I'm able to submit the form to a database, things like that. So that makes them excited. So this approach has worked really well for me, more than theoretical stuff. This practical thing works out well. And while building it, I explain things to them.
Yeah, so you mentioned an interesting point. So say a company as developers, say UI developers who are already working with, say, jQuery, right? Just throwing out an example.
Yeah.
And then there is a need to move to React and start using the latest technology around that. So that's something that you could structure, right?
Yes.
But so does that mean that you will have to structure the content to every single company or certain set of group of people's needs? And how taxing is that? How have you been able to accommodate to multiple different needs like that? Like, it's not just about teaching React in this case, right? It's about teaching React from a context of someone who's coming from jQuery, which is going to be slightly different as well, right? So how are you? So how difficult has it been, or has it been difficult? That's the first question. And or how are you trying to manage it?
It's not easy actually, but it works out. Because I wanted to experiment this. The long-term plan that I have was to build a company that will run boot camps and train people and make them better programmers, right? That's the ideal thing that I want to do. But before that, I wanted to experiment with different types of people. So I wanted to give training for freshers, mid-level developers, and also senior developers. That's the reason why I started doing a lot of these corporate workshops, right? So when you go for a corporate workshop, I have these kind of challenges. Like, how do I, like you said, there are a set of people who have only done jQuery. Now, how do I train them? And it also makes it very interesting for me, if I'm able to help them build, learn something new from jQuery, that is going to be really a great thing for me, right? So I enjoy doing that. So it's not a very big deal, but still there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I take some time, probably a few weeks time, to figure out what are the things that I want to do. I look at for all the other sources that are available online, all the open source courses that are there, things like that, and get some idea out of it. Okay, this is the format that we can do. And then I talk to the company and see if that works out for them. Like we brainstorm together, and then we come out with a proper plan for that. That's how it works.
Great. So both your example and my example were with React. Is there a breadth of technologies or stack that you're looking at? Is it primarily front end? Are we also talking about training around things like, say, Spark, machine learning, deep learning, spinning up backend services, and so on? So what is the breadth of material that you are planning to cover or are covering? So can you give us on that? Yeah.
Okay. So right now I'm not trying to focus on, the data side of it, like, Apache Spark and things like that. First I want to do is I want to, make people build something first of all, right? So we are trying to like reach out to people who are not able to build things or who are not into that area, right? So the courses that I'm focusing more on is full stack development. Right? So currently, like what can I do for full stack development? That is my ideal thing. And for full stack, I picked up these technologies because it's easier for the people who are learning this, right? Like if I had like Python for backend and then JavaScript for front end, then it means that they have to learn 2 different languages and it would take more time. So what I decided was to have one single language like JavaScript, which can do both of the things, right? Front end and backend. So we spend a considerable amount of time teaching them JavaScript first. So they are like really fundamentally strong with JavaScript. And then we also focus on libraries like Node.js for backend, Express.js, and on the front end, you could probably teach them React, Redux, and so on, right? So ideally, what happens is like they end of the day, they become a full stack developer. They will be able to do things on the back end and on the front end. But libraries, that is not my focus actually. My focus is to make them a really good programmer by giving them the fundamental things that you need to know. Right? As a programmer, the mindset that you need to have, like how do you think, how do you solve problems, how do you ideate for a product, things like that. So once you give that, libraries wouldn't be a problem. Once they are able to do things on their own, then no matter how many libraries that you want them to learn, they will be able to learn it in the future. So we don't focus on the libraries as such. I just give 1 or 2 as an example, like React or Node.js, but that is not the fundamental thing, right? They should be able to adapt to new frameworks that are coming up because we never know when React will go down and then there might be another framework popping up, right? So anybody who's like a programmer needs to have this mindset. He should be able to learn things by himself and also be able to adapt from one technology to another. So how do we give them that mindset? So that will be the focus. So how do they self-learn? How do they solve problems? Which is why during my bootcamp, I give them a lot of exercises. I ask them to build micro products, right? So even if it's a 2-week bootcamp, they will be building like probably 2 to 3 micro apps to give them that experience, like probably a Facebook timeline clone or a Swiggy clone, things like that. Okay? So that gives them a practical knowledge.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Just to reiterate, the focus is on learning to solve problems and learning to solve them in an ideal way, such that you can take those learnings to any library, or even a lot of these learnings from front end can be applied to back end as well. A lot of these learnings are going to be the same as a software engineer, right? So that does make a lot of sense. So, so expanding that on that a bit, right? So do you also cover things like testing, CI, CD deployment, and all that, like taking it end to end? So what is the coverage there?
So for testing, I would probably require more time. Like when a company, like if I'm doing it as a corporate training, if a company requires that, hey, I also need these people to have testing thing inside it, then I would probably ask for more time because it won't be possible in 1 or 2 weeks, right? So I will tell them like, if you want to be able to like write test cases and all, then there needs to be a time change and all that. But if it's a normal bootcamp that I'm organizing or a workshop outside, it will probably take more time. Like let's say we have a 3 months bootcamp. In that we will probably have, we should have these kind of things involved. So the aspect of training that I'm trying to do in a full-fledged bootcamp, when I say full-fledged bootcamp, it is probably a 3 months thing, right? So there, what I would like to cover is the entire life cycle of a product development, right? Starting from agile to how you create features, how you think about features, how do you break down features into small tasks, and then how do you create the storyboard, user cards, and things like that, right? And then going from there, how do you design your database? How do you build the application? Start to build an application, and then finally, writing test cases also is a part of it. Writing test cases to validate your code, and then deploying it to the cloud, like going live, right? So deploying means it could be a CI/CD pipeline, or it could be a normal manual deployment as well, right? Depending on the time that we have. But this is what I cover. Like it should be the complete, like end-to-end task from starting to build an application to deploying it on the cloud.
So one of the questions that I always ask as part of my podcast is, after talking about all the good things. So what have been the biggest challenges for you? That's one thing that I think like
Right.
gives out the biggest learning for it, right? So as you're doing this, what have been the biggest? I think we talked about it a bit, but what would you say are like the top challenges that you're facing right now in taking this forward, or what are the current challenges that you're
Right.
facing?
Correct. So current challenges, when it comes to teaching, there are like two different types of people. No? Some people are already self-motivated and are excited people, curious minds, right? So teaching those kind of people will not be a problem at all. You just give them a small hint and they will grab it and they'll probably asking you many questions and then they come towards you. You don't have to like give them a lot. Instead, just tell them like, hey, this is what we are going to do. Give them a small hint and they'll probably be able to like figure out what it is and get things going. But then there are other kind of people who are like who are not that excited or probably not very curious as compared to these people who are like extremely passionate, right? So these people, they are, whether they are a fresher or whether they could be a experienced developer, they have this challenge. So currently I'm dealing with this challenge. There are a bunch of experienced developers who have been working for the last 5-6 years or so, but they have been busy with their projects, day-to-day work, and their focus is only on one particular language or one particular framework for the entire 5-6 months, 5-6 years of their career, right? So now, how do we make these people, get from intermediate level to the expert level? Right now, we cannot call them expert because they are probably, hacking things. They are not really, going deep and doing that deep work. They are working on a shallow level. This is a problem that I see. All these people who have like 5-6 years of experience, you cannot say that they're really good. Even I have been, such a developer before. So I used to do shallow work. We don't go deep. Instead, we do things with limited knowledge. We probably use Stack Overflow, Google search, and get things done, right? But that's not the right way to do when you are an experienced developer. You could use Stack Overflow and all that. That's not a problem. But you should be like really strong in being able to figure out, how to debug your application, all those things, right? You cannot just rely on Stack Overflow for everything. But when you say debugging, so people will say, oh, debugging, I can easily do it with Stack Overflow. But can you do it without Stack Overflow or Google? That is the thing, right? As a fresher or probably 1 or 2 years experience, if you're doing this, it's fine. But when you reach a point where you are like 5 years, 6 years experience, then you probably go deep and then see, you've been working with a particular language for a very long time. So how do you understand that language? Like, do you really understand how these application works? How does the language works? What is the interpreted language and what is compiled language? How do they work actually? What is going on behind the scenes? Once you make sense of all these things, then you'll probably be able to think better and also, do a kind of deep work, which will bring you, a lot of things. Like, like they say, when you do deep work, you're able to create masterpieces, right? So I'm focused on this masterpiece. Like, how can we get these experienced people to create projects that are like really a masterpiece? I'm talking about craftsmanship here, right? So that is another challenge that I'm facing with people who are working in companies already. I meet a lot of people like that. And, probably the CEOs or the managers used to ask me, like, this is the challenge that we have. How do we solve this? So this is something that I'm still struggling with, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do this. That has been the biggest challenge right now, and I'm also like intrigued with how to solve it, because it's a big deal. Like, if we can solve it, that could be a big deal.
Nice. So one thing I wanted to talk about is in the very first episode of the podcast, right? So we talked with a few interns in my company, and one of the odd topics that we spoke about is college, setting them up right, giving them the right information for them to move over to the industry, and whether even college is needed or not. And I think even on social media, there's been recently a lot of talk around whether college degree or CS degree or background is required or not for computer science, right? So what are your takes around it, and how do you think you can address some of these aspects as part of your the work that you are doing?
Yes. So for college students, in college, I think there are very few colleges which are actually doing things that help people become a really good developer, right? Otherwise, most of these colleges are focused on academics, studying and getting good marks and things like that. But they're not really worried whether these people are getting an actual skill or not. I've seen like very few colleges which do this, which focuses on helping them learn something out of their syllabus, like probably learning Python or trying to build application, like running hackathons and things like that. But that's been a very challenging thing for all these colleges. People don't realize actually, even the college students, they don't know what they are lacking right now, right? Because they've been they are just conforming to what the colleges are giving them. So they think that, okay, this is the right path to go. Maybe if I get good score and if I do this, I'll probably be able to get a good job. That is how they are thinking, right? But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tell these people, like, through these communities, like whenever we have events, when I meet college students, I tell them, like, hey, you should not just leave with that. You should not, just because you have the 80% mark or 90% mark doesn't mean that you will be able to get into a good company. Instead, you should also focus on learning some skill while you're in the college, right? If you're an engineering student, what I would suggest is, you should probably focus the last 2-3 years building something. Right? There are colleges where people start building in first year itself. They start learning some languages and they start building things from the first year. But I'm saying, if you are not into that, like even if you have, like, if you are in the third year or second year, you can focus the next few years in building things. Right? So what my thing is, I used to ask college people to come for internship, not just internship. It's more like a boot camp that I try to do for the last 6 months of their college, right? And in that 6 months, they could probably get into a boot camp and then start building things if they are not used to that before. If you're already used to that, it's a different thing. But if you're not able to build things, like, try to at least focus that last 6 months of your engineering program, like going for an internship or probably joining a boot camp would be a better idea, where you will have end-to-end knowledge, right? Like, you start from programming language to building an application and also deploying it, writing test cases, things like that, right? So that is one thing that I would like to do for college students. It's like they are available. Like I spoke to some of the colleges and they said, like, you can easily take people during their last semester. You can have like 3 months to 6 months time. They can come to your office, work with you, discuss with you, things like that. So that would be a good thing for college students to start with.
Yeah, I think that's where I think the community also helps, right? Like encouraging college students to start attending meetups so that they can get some taste
Correct.
of it and then start working on it. I think that makes a lot of sense
Right.
as well.
That is actually why when we organize meetups, I would like more students to come and join us, because they get this exposure. Like, unless you're coming out of college and then meeting other people, you don't know what is happening in this industry, right? So that's the reason why I encourage people to come to attend these meetup at least. Whether you join a bootcamp or not, it's a different story. But if you just go out and attend these meetups that are happening in your city, you could probably understand, like, hey, what is this guy talking about? He's talking about something new. You could hear something new, let's say React or something that is that you haven't heard before, right? So you come across such new technologies and you meet new people, right? And then you get to learn from them what is going on in the industry. That's the other side of your career, right? So what is going on in the industry? What are they actually looking for? What are they doing in the company? So you need to explore, first of all, before you can figure out what is your passion, right? I see a lot of college students, taking up something just because, everybody is doing it, right? We get into engineering because, everybody is doing it, or probably my mom or dad wants to do. Instead, you should probably look for that passion. Like, am I really interested in doing, engineering? Or what would I get out of it, actually? Like, if I'm taking up engineering course, what is the end plan for me? Like, what would I do after college? So people don't think in long term. They just probably think, okay, what is next? I should join a college. So let me join engineering college. That's it. If you ask them what are you going to do after college, they would probably not know, right? So we should probably help these people, see what will happen after college, right? So these are the things that are available. People need to be exposed to all the options that they have. Even I was not exposed to a lot of options. All I knew was, software engineering, mechanical engineering, things like that. But even in software, there are so many things that you could do, right? You could be a designer, you could do marketing in software, you could do sales, you could do development. There's so many things, right? But people don't realize that, right? So
and even other things like DevOps and SRE
yes,
and all that.
Correct. Yeah. True. So there are so many things that we don't even know. All we know is software engineer. I want to become a software engineer. But if we could, through these community meetups or something like that, if we could expose these students to multiple options, they would probably be able to pick their passion. Because I heard from people saying, hey, Magesh, you keep talking about passion all the time. You said that you have this passion, but I don't know what is my passion. Like, how do I figure out what is my passion? It's not happening. I mean, I've been working for 5 years, but still I don't know what is my passion, right? So that also happens. Some people might be able to find their passion immediately, but if not, then you should probably be exploring. Like, you cannot just sit in one place and say that everything will come to you. Instead, you should probably put yourself out there, go meet different kinds of people, do different kinds of things, and see what is your actual calling.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of good advice, especially around organizing meetups and stuff. I think
Yes.
while we do expect students to come, but I think we don't explicitly reach out to them. I think that's a very good advice around making sure reaching out to students and make them like exposed to a lot of different topics and so on. Yeah, I think getting even my personal experience, I spoke about it in one of the previous episodes. I
Mhm.
was first asked to work in a DevOps area. I wasn't into it. I didn't even know what it was and so on. But then I
Right.
realized that I actually do love it. And
Mhm.
even though now like I'm a full-time backend engineer,
Good
I
for you. You loved it. Okay. There are some people, my friends, who are put into a particular thing like
yeah
networking.
yeah
Networking, they don't like it. They
yeah
don't like it. They realize it after a few years,
yeah
4 plus years. They realize that, hey man, I've been doing this networking for a long
mm,
time, but I don't like networking. Then
yeah
they look for a change, and then they have to come from scratch, right? After 5 years, you cannot go as an experienced developer.
mm,
They have to like
yeah
go from scratch. I have had
yeah
friends who have done that.
yeah I think the initial part of your career from college time to career, I think it's more about experimenting with what you like, and also beyond the experiment also like developing a breadth of experience. And then once you know that okay, this is the probably the track that I want to go in,
Like,
go deep into that the T-shape knowledge that we talk about, right? Breadth as the top and then the depth.
yes,
Yeah, I think that approach could help a lot of us who are entering into the industry. Yeah, thanks, that was a lot of
absolutely.
good advice. So with the work that that you're doing now, right? So where do you see it evolving over the next few years? So some of the things could be like, say, starting a Udemy course, so on, right? So where do you see yourself personally, as well as part of the work that you're doing, right? So where do you see
Yeah.
this in the next few years?
Yes. Okay. So about Udemy courses, like I want to experiment that also because there are a lot of people who have come to my workshops before when I was like experimenting these workshops and all, who came to me and said, Magesh, I've seen a lot of Udemy courses. There are so many resources right now. There's like a plethora of resources that we have, right? Udemy videos and YouTube videos and whatnot, Khan Academy, etc. So these people were asking me like, hey, I know that there are so many things that are available, but let's say I'm learning for a specific technology. I'm not really sure which to pick because there's like so many things that I can take. I cannot go and experiment everything. And there are people who also like say that, okay, I signed up for Udemy courses, but then the videos that I found was not like really helpful. I was able to see what he is explaining, but I'm not really able to build that application that he was building. Maybe I don't get it completely, right? So that is the reason I have come to your workshop because I can see you face to face, and then I can probably ask all the questions. I have so many questions which I cannot ask a Udemy course. Probably you could ask in Udemy forums, but still they like to be in a real time scenario, like go to a mentor and then ask them questions and then get it done from them, right? So these kind of things were also there, and I realized that the challenge is some of the people, they're not able to understand content that is out there. You need to create content that are very simple actually. So that's something that I adopted for my teaching. Like whenever do teaching, what I do is I make the course like really simple. I go through all these resources myself. I watch videos on Udemy, YouTube, and read a lot of blogs which are complicated, and then I break down those things into like simple stuff using simple words. I try to explain it to the students or developers, so that people who are not getting it will also be able to understand what I'm trying to say. So my focus will be like, if I have a class full of like 10-20 people, I would try to make sure that all these people, like 20 people, should get the idea. Even if we are going a bit slow, all these 20 people should be able to understand it, right? So I was thinking like maybe we should create simple courses like that on different technology, which will be helpful for these people who are finding it really hard to study. Other people who are totally self motivated, and the people who are excited, they will figure out a way to learn it eventually. But these people who have this communication challenges, understanding from the English videos and things like that. So how do we help these people? That is also another thing that I wanted to do. So I have like friends in another startup called Guvi here in Chennai. So they have asked me to create videos for their courses. They have an online platform with about 4 lakh students, registered with them. So they've been asking to create videos, and I also want to try it on Udemy. That is the video aspect of it. And in the long term, what I would like to do is I would probably have to, create a boot camp structure where we say that 3 months or 4 months is the time that you have to spend, right? Whether you are a student or a developer, it doesn't matter, but you need to like come off. I cannot like so far. I've been trying to figure out like how I can help these people who are working in companies so that they do not disturb their current project or current work and then come learn these things. So now instead of that, what should happen is they should be able to like take up time. Like, even if you're working, you should be able to take up a sabbatical or something and come and learn. If you really want to do something better, you need to put in that effort or commitment, right? So we are thinking of creating a bootcamp structure, probably 3 months bootcamp, where people, like, whether you're students or developer, doesn't matter, just come and join and pick a certain technologies, and we will try to make you like really good in programming. Like, being able to be, helping them be an expert in that thing, because there are a lot of people who learn software development and they're able to do it. They do some hacks and things like that. But like earlier I was saying about deep work, right? They're not able to do deep work. They are all working on a shallow level. So we want to create better quality engineers who are able to do deep work, not shallow work. So that will be my idea for the future. Creating good quality engineers.
Yeah, nice. That's a good goal to have, I suppose. Yeah, I think very excited to see where this goes. And I think you've given a lot of good info and advice on a lot of these topics around training. I think it's a pretty good passion thing that you have. And it's also something that I want to start looking into, both as like creating the impact that you mentioned, and also for keep continuing to learn myself as well, right? So I think it's been inspiring to talk with you on some of these topics. So thanks a lot. Those are all the questions that I had. Do you have any final thoughts?
Okay, I think I've missed out one of the part of it. The rewards, I think. I didn't talk a little bit about the reward part, right? So one of the most rewarding thing for me was, like I told you before, teaching people, helping these people who are like struggling to learn things from the online businesses, even though there are so many available right now. These people are struggling, and I was able to like help them learn these things. That was a really good thing for me. I was feeling like really satisfied when they were able to understand things. I used to like go deep and help them out. That was one thing. And then one of the developers who I was training recently, so she got a job in a Bangalore-based company, and she sent out a message saying, hey Mangesh, thank you for your bootcamp, and I was able to get into this company in bootcamp, and your course in React especially had some help from me. Helped me to be able to get through the interview, because that company was working on React completely. So she was like sending out a text to me and saying, thank you and all. That is kind of like really rewarding when people get something out of it when you are doing something. That's the impact that I like to create.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like someone saying that their career has kicked off
Yes.
because of our help.
Yes.
That's a very good thing to know about, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mangesh. Thanks for taking your time. Thanks for giving a lot of nice information and advice around the work that you're doing, and also the community work that you're doing. Yeah, thanks a lot. See you.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Yeah, see you guys.
See you. Bye.